Anybody else any other things? Put this degree in, go ahead, you go first.
What kind of things are we going to discuss in this meeting? These type of meetings.
I'm going to take your assignments, and we're going to chat about what's involved and what our expectations are in that, and maybe clarify some questions. And we are periodically going to take whatever chapters are appropriate at that point in the course, and either pick up a chapter and talk about a couple of issues, or more importantly, the reason I've asked Jimmy to join me is because Jimmy's background is very extensive, and particularly in HR management. Jimmy is retired military, I'm ex-military. We've got a lot of personal experiences. We think if we explain some of them to you, they might illustrate some of the points we'd like to make too. And we're going to invite you to make that a two-way conversation, as we did at the beginning of class. That's what's going to go on in class.
Thank you.
Okay? A whole lot different than standing up here and lecturing and you sitting there passively texting or going to sleep. Good. So, anything else? Yes, ma'am.
It is also my second time around in this class. Last time you had an expectation to come to 2 classes or Skype you, I think, if I remember correctly.
That was my attempt to try to make some kind of personal contact with everybody. We have 100 and, as a matter of fact, the last I count, 114 students. I forgot.
Maybe not.
So I'm not so sure I'll be in personal contact with everybody, so there's no requirement.
Okay.
But I will always offer myself to be available, and Jimmy same way. Anytime you want to sit down and chat, get a hold of one of us or both of us, and we'll find a time and place. Our days are somewhat workable, as well as some evenings. Before 7 o'clock, martini hour.
6 kids. So before
You ought to join me for martini hour.
that's why I withdrew last time. So I had a baby. So
Okay, okay, you've got a full plate. One of the problems we've experienced in the past is many students would start this program with the idea that if I've got a full-time job, I've got some kids and or parents to take care of, but man, if I take 4 courses, I can get full-time financial aid. And that's called setting yourself up for a disaster. So if you're working full-time and you're taking more than 2 courses, you better be really good and disciplined. And you'll be the exception if you're successful. Be careful how you load yourself up. One of the things you're going to do in this course, you're going to build us an academic plan. And you're going to lay out every course you're going to take for this degree, when you're going to take it. That's just the beginning of the plan. You know, that's part of management, self-management.
We call it begin with the end in mind. Basically know where you want to, when it's all said and done, when you're done with your academics, what degree do you want to have if that's the case? And what do you want to have accomplished, and kind of lay it out. The schedule, how it interacts with your personal life, how it interacts with your work life, that whole bit. And that's part of that academic plan, or it should be anyway.
And many of you perhaps may consider going on to graduate school after your bachelor's degree. If you are considering that, your GPA is going to be important. So don't overload yourself to where your GPA suffers just because you're in a hurry. Other things on your mind? Sir?
How long will these meetings be?
We'll start at 5:30 and typically we'll end between 6:30 and 6:45. Sometimes maybe a little earlier, depends on the dynamics, what's going on. Okay. How's the job market out there? Is that your sign there? Kind of sucks. Ben?
I just got back from spending 9 months in Alaska, and the job market up there is amazing. The only reason I came back without a job is because I broke my leg.
The same is true up in North Dakota, by the way.
And
And if you want to live up
It's
yonder,
an hour for people flipping burgers at McDonald's.
it's too cold.
with snow.
All of those things are things that come into consideration as you start to think about your plan. If you are going to live in Gainesville and Alachua County, and you know that's where you're going to live, you know what the job market is in Gainesville and Alachua County, and there are some things where you have an opportunity to be successful, much more likely to be successful, if you will, than in others. In other words, let's just give an example. If you wanted to be in hospitality management at Disney, Gainesville is probably not the right place to be. I mean, long-term, sure, I mean, it's a great place in the short term. So you have to think about those kinds of things as you think about your academic plan.
Here's my point. Even assuming you're willing to relocate out of Gainesville, how many of you are willing to relocate when you finish? Okay, good. That's 50% anyway. How's the job market going to be when you relocate, unless you go to Alaska? It's still pretty rough out there. There's an awful lot of college graduates with bachelor's degrees in management whose basically line in life is, "Hi, my name's Roger, I'll be serving you tonight. Would you like fries with that?" It's a tough job market. What are you going to do about it? There's your management child.
Stay in the military.
Stay in the military?
Yeah, they've always got a job for them.
This is true.
Send yourself to a higher
What
standard.
about those of us who have experience?
Well, I get, hey, Chris, come on in.
Thank you.
We get some, it's kind of an interesting question that comes along in this program. I think our average student in this program right now is about 35 years old.
Oh.
And they have experience. And many of them are concerned, am I too old to be competitive even with my experience? And so one of the things I'd like to talk about in these classes in the evening, and Jimmy will know a hell of a lot more about it than I do, is how do you take that experience despite your age and make it an asset, not a liability? How do you go out and find those jobs? Let me ask you this question. And Jimmy, you correct me if I'm wrong.
Sure.
Where are the best jobs? Where do you find the best jobs? Where are they advertised? Online? Monster.com? Huh? Within the company?
Higher within, usually.
Hire within?
On the company's own website.
I suggest to you the best jobs out there are never advertised.
They're never advertised.
Between friends.
Network.
It's all about who you know.
It's not just who you know. That phrase is a little bit misleading. It's not all about who you know.
Is that the right time?
If you know the right people, and you're patient because sometimes jobs take time before they open, that's a good necessary but not sufficient background to get the job. What's the other thing you gotta have to get the job?
Personality.
You gotta know what the hell you're doing. You gotta demonstrate in some way that you've got a good mind, a good focus and discipline, an incredible ability with people, that you are absolutely determined and capable. Because if you know everybody but you couldn't pour water out of a boot, I damn sure don't need you. And I'll tell you something else. If you're not real good at what you're doing, and I know about a great job, I'm not going to recommend you for it. Okay? So yeah, you got to network, you got to know people. That's where the best jobs are. How do you find those? How do you meet people?
Network.
How do you network?
Get out there.
You go to
How do you get out there?
Join associations.
How do you join an association?
Like look at Toastmasters.
How do you do that?
Look at like
you join with people like that.
How do you do that?
Hold up
Go
a
talk
side
to them.
meeting.
Say,
put
hey,
yourself out there, get out of your comfort zone.
How do you do that?
Ask other people.
I'm asking you because I'm going to be trying to tell you specific steps you got to do. Strickland, if you want to meet other people, when this class is over, go introduce yourself to Mike Chartier and the other two officers that are back there and start. Okay? Let's try a couple of other ways. Tim, 2 seconds.
Florida Works has something out there I think it's Monday, I don't remember what night it is, where companies come in, people come in, and you start networking. They actually have a system designed to introduce you to people in the area.
Okay, let me comment on that. Okay, now get a personalized. Jim, you go first.
No, I was just going to say, don't fall into the trap of thinking that networking is a time and a place. It's a whole process.
Absolutely.
It's about establishing credibility with other folks as opposed to just knowing them and creating a card catalog and you got a whole list of names and a whole list of phone numbers. You have to have some type of credibility where that person not only is willing to recommend you or maybe even to hire you, but they're putting their reputation on the line when they're vouching for you. So you got to establish credibility with those folks.
Be careful about organizations or venues where people are just there to network.
Yeah,
That's going to be about a mile wide and 2 inches deep.
there you go.
What you're looking for is the ability to create a rapport and a relationship. Let me ask you this, just for the hell of it, think about it. What if you told me that next term in this program, you're going to be taking managerial economics in a global society? And I said, oh, well, Dr. Searcy, the director of this program, teaches that course. And so what if sometime in the next 6 or 7 weeks, you made an appointment with Dr. Searcy, stopped by his office, kind of spiffed up, sat down and chatted with him about what you're interested in with the degree, and said, could you tell me about your course? Do you have a copy of the syllabus? What textbook are you using? Are you going to change the textbook? Do you make old exams available? Dr. Searcy, I see you got your degree from the University of Florida. What did you study? And you got to know a little bit about him, and you asked him just enough questions to hear where he started talking a lot. When he talks a lot and you don't talk much, what happens when you walk out of the office? He thinks you're a pretty good guy. If you come in the office and you're doing all the damn talking, he thinks you're a loudmouth. Okay? But if you had that conversation with him once, and you followed up maybe with an email, or maybe just stopped by and said hi, once every 4 weeks, is he part of your network? He's a whole lot more part of your network than somebody you met out at cocktail hour exchanging business cards. That's what I mean by get up, get away from the Xbox, and go out and do it. And those are the kind of conversations I want to have in this classroom. What are you doing? One of your competencies is networking. Who's in your network now? And how are you going to grow it? Deep and wide. What do you have to offer? Why should I include you as part of my network? What do you bring? What value do you bring to me? What credibility do you bring to me? And that's a tough thing to work on sometimes. But you can start by being absolutely superb in everything you do in this class. Then I can talk about you in a good way. Okay?